Did you have that same sort of shock when you were around? It's a whole new generation of people at this point, and it's a whole new building and yada, yada, yada. How did you feel that first kind of, few months when you were back?
It was definitely a big shock. I went through where the new schoolhouse is, so I went through about a decade ago. So I was pretty close to when the new schoolhouse just finished getting set up. And it was weird transitioning when all of a sudden you're on the other side of the curtain and you see these students looking at you and kind of like going towards the wall to get at parade rest. And I'm like, whoa, I've only been here for like 2 days. Last time I was here, I was on the wall.
Yeah, well, and I'm going to pause you right there just to tell everybody. So there is a tradition at the schoolhouse, and this has been a tradition since I don't know, forever. And it's combat control. It's all ASPEC war, right? Like if an instructor or if any combat mission support personnel are walking down the hallway, it is a tradition and a thing in our culture for the students to move to the side. So they will basically, come to parade rest, and they will get to the side to let you walk down the hallway. And man, Ty, I'm glad you said that. It always made me feel weird. That was the weirdest thing when people would start moving. I'd be like, okay, just go. This is weird. Get down the hallway.
Yeah, I'm pretty much still in the point where it's like I'm the flight chief and I have like 20 instructors underneath me, but I'll still have these random students in the hallway, and it's just I'm like, hey man, you're good, just go. Like we'll get through this one together. Neither of us knows what to do right now.
We're both terrified.
So, yeah, I'm just like, okay. Like the weird one was when I just got frustrated with a student one day, and I was just like, wait a minute. No, just drop. And I was just thinking like, what? No, I can do that. Yeah. Just knock out a set, man, and then go on with your life and be better.
It's funny because back in January, I went, I think it was January, we went and visited SWIC and ANS with, a bunch of PJ Chiefs, a bunch of Crows and stuff like that from the units. And Ivan Ruiz, having been an NDOC instructor, he just immediately went into that role whenever students was around. And me having never been an NDOC or a basic course kind of instructor, like an apprentice course type instructor, like that was very new to me. And he fit the role immediately. And I definitely would not be good in that because I'm cracking up. I could not maintain any kind of bearing or anything. Some of the things that Ivan would do and say, and he's not even an instructor down there at the time. He's just kind of like, it was really funny, and I couldn't handle it. And I definitely am not the right person for that job.
Yeah, when they're looking for like somebody to hammer these students to really like teach a good lesson, it's not me. Like you just know your wheelhouse. There's guys that are naturals, and I just know I'm not one of them. But
no, I'm the guy that would be very I'm not going to yell. I'm just going to give you the kind of disappointed dad, and
John Smith.
You're going to do a lot of PT.
Yeah, no, it's not me. Like I tried my best at it, but there's naturals. Let them have it. But so like first showing up, it was weird, and it still is today. But it's fun trying to see like the impact you can have, especially because the pipeline's changed so much. Pretty much all we get students now is just at the apprentice course. So everything else, they're over at Lackland. So we used to have those like couple years where you'd get to know them as a casual. You'd get to know them as like just walking through the halls. You'd start seeing the faces, seeing the names. You'd see people just naturally pop up.
Yeah, they come out on trips. Like you have students that'll come out and support trips for the team that's going through, and you would know that group of students. Like everybody had their favorite cone. Like, hey man, we got to get a weapons request together. Okay, well go get Johnson because he actually didn't screw it up last time, so he's going to be my dude. And you actually do develop a pretty good relationship with those students.
Yeah, and that's a weird relationship that always exists because you have to keep it very professional. And like if you see him outside the schoolhouse, you don't talk to him like anything like that, just because the student instructor relationship has to be maintained. But it's one of those things where now we don't have that. And so I'm going to call it like just indirect mentorship is something that we don't get as much anymore just because we only get them for such a small period of time. They'll show up about a month before the apprentice course starts, And then after that, they're leaving pretty quick unless they're hanging around right now for our free fall. But other than that, we aren't seeing these guys anymore. So they're spending a lot more time down at Lackland. And I don't know what they're doing down there really, but not to say right, wrong, indifferent. It's just from our optic, we don't get that time with them, which we actually did enjoy quite a bit.
Right. And I want to clarify, because we're going to get hit on it. Even though you've said it explicitly, here's what we need to do, because this is the world we live in. So what Ty is talking about is that now we front loaded the pipeline, right? So what used to happen is you used to go through assessment selection, pre-dive, and dive. And usually when you got done with dive, you started looking for those PCS orders out to Kirtland, and you would spend most of your pipeline at Kirtland, and you would go to the other associated schools. Like sometimes you get Airborne or SEER knocked out if you were down at Lackland, but really it was after that dive area, you were starting to look at that PCS to Kirtland. That is no more. Now what they do is everybody stays at Lackland or at JBSA for an extended period of time. You're going to go through all of your training to include paramedics. So you'll go through what we're calling MP3 now through Lackland. And then, JBSA, Joint Base San Antonio. And I'm never going to be able to stop saying Lackland or call it Medina. I realize it's the Chapman Training Annex. I can't. I'm old. However, so that's what Ty's talking about, right? So you're going to spend most of your time at San Antonio, and then you'll PCS to Kirtland. And one of the unintended second order consequences of that is that you don't get that mentorship time. And you're right, you do develop relationships with those students down there. So,
yeah. But I will say, like,
somebody in the comments is going to be like, "What is he talking about? What you don't go to Kirtland? What they told us that we go to Kirtland."
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lost opportunity on our end, but it's a gained opportunity on theirs. So they're spending more time there, so they can really have that larger impact. And then we'll just have them at the apprentice course, which is also all right. We love having them at the apprentice course. And so the apprentice course, from when I went through, and I'm sure from a lot of people before me went through, it's completely different now. It used to almost be an attrition course where it was really just very physically demanding, unrealistic timelines, constant, unmet expectations, where they would give you a standard, you would fail to meet it. Impossible standards consistently. It's changed a lot for the better. It's now really a lot more mentorship and develop, because we've realized it was at the end of the pipeline. So we have guys that we're getting ready to send out to the field. They're going to go deploy potentially like 30 days, 60 days right after getting out of there. They're going to a team. They need to learn how to be able to integrate and actually talk to a team member instead of only being able to stand at parade rest, just ask a basic question when they don't know. And so now we're really focusing on that mentorship and develop. So it's not as physically demanding as it used to be. It used to be just brutal. Now we're really trying to teach them. So we're pulling a lot of stuff out of the Ranger handbook, trying to get those joint practices. We are trying to go more in depth with medicine. We're trying to get them more in depth with technical rescue, teach them foundational principles so that when they go to any team across the board, they have a solid foundation to build off, and then they can start learning how that team does it. Follow all their standard operating procedures, or those SOPs that you always hear about, because every team's going to be different. But at least now they'll have something to pull information from, and they can start understanding why. And those teams can really build on it, which is the whole point of the 5 and 7 level. And so that's really where we focus all of our efforts now in the schoolhouse.
I like that kind of model, and let me put this to the front side of it. Like I have never been to the apprentice course, PJU or PJ University that we used to call it, but I've always heard that it's extremely professional. So kudos to you and the instructors that are out there, because all the products, at least when I was at the 22nd, all of those PJs that would come out of there were extremely professional. And I've talked about it before, so I won't bring it up again, but they always come out really professional. And I like that you guys are almost front loading a lot of that professional mentorship and stuff like that. So that's really good. But